Once Buddha was just passing by the forest and he met a man, and the man was really angry and upset with him. And he was just telling him that you are stupid and you are teaching stupid and you have no right to teach what you are teaching and you are really fake, you know. He was just telling everything so angrily, and he was really insulting in a way to Buddha. But Buddha, being Buddha, he just gave a smile. He just gave a smile to this man, and he just gently said that, tell me something. If you buy a gift for somebody and the gift was not accepted by that person, who that gift belonged to? And the person was a little taken aback that how can this man be asking me this question in this situation? But anyway, he just kind of replied, very angrily, he just said that, you know, the gift belongs to me because the person didn't take it. And Buddha just smiled again, and he just said that that's the point I'm trying to make it here, that if you give me your anger and I don't take it, it falls back onto you. The anger belongs back to you and not to me. And that was one of the most surprising moment that man had in his life. Okay, in similar way, we as human beings, we have learned from over the period of time. We all come from a different map of reality. We all have different belief system that we really believe in, and our representation system, our self-talk that we use it in order to deal with the challenges in our life depend upon our map of reality. So how do we really, get through that map of reality? How do we, as some of you may be hypnotist, some of you may be NLP practitioner, or some of you will be managing people in your workplace. So how do you really help somebody to get through their internal communication that they have already experienced throughout their life? How do you break through that critical factor of their subconscious mind and get through that map of their reality? And that is, we can do it through with meta model. Now, meta model was developed by Richard Bandler, and the premise of meta model is basically asking questions that will go beyond what is obvious, go beyond what people are telling you about. So, and that's why we call it meta model. It is basically a kind of a model of questions that you can use it in order to get through the critical factor of the subconscious mind. But yes, he did warn at that moment of time that meta model should not be considered or should not be used as an interrogation method. And that exactly happened when I was learning as a hypnotist and an NLP practitioner, and I started asking questions to people, various questions. I would be asking, even if they say something completely normal, I would be asking a question. The question could be anything from that, if my friend would just say that, I want to start getting up at so and so time, and I would be just asking, so what stops you from there? And then she'll tell me another story, then I'll ask another question, and a time came in when then she was really put off by my questioning. So yeah, the point here is that, not to use it as an interrogation method. The most important thing of meta model is building up a rapport. Unless you have a rapport with that person, you cannot start asking a question, because then ultimately then it will turn out to be more like an interrogation method of asking question that the person is not comfortable telling you. So always have a rapport before you start asking a question through this particular model. If you remember the communication model of NLP, the whole idea of NLP is improving the communication. And if you remember that what really interferes with two people communicating in a more effective way, in a clear way, is the filters people have within themselves. It could be based on their limiting belief system, or their belief system, or their value system, their experiences that they have gone through. So how do we remove these filters? And that's where the meta model comes in. With meta model, we can remove those filters and improve the communication between two people or a group of people. Now the whole idea, the aim of meta model is to gather information about the person. If you are a practitioner or a hypnotherapist, the best way to gather information about the other person is through meta model, is by helping them to break through their critical factor limiting belief system. So we can gather information with meta model and also clarify the meaning, what they actually really mean by what they are saying. Yeah. For example, I'm stressed, so we can, you can always ask what's making them stressed, or what's creating the stress, or what they mean by stress, and we can clear the meaning. What is it? And generally, you can break down that information into different chunks rather than generalizing it, and identify the limitation. So it's all about what they can achieve and what they cannot at that point in the life, and also open up the choices, so that you can always say that when people have relationship issue or issues at the workplace, it's about opening up their choices. When somebody says that I don't like the person I'm working with, you can always ask what is stopping them to quit the job, and you will open up the choices for them, and you will have a set of questions that would follow up with that. So these are the 4 things that meta model really helps us with in our working as a hypnotist, or as a people manager, or as an NLP practitioner. Now you can turn on page 29 so that we can go over this meta model questions, and then once we go over that, then you can practice it one-on-one. Okay, so page 29, the first thing that the filters that people generally use it is distortion. We distort information. And how do we really do that? Based on what people say is, you don't like me. This is like a distortion of information. So how do you really get through that distortion? Is that, what did I do to think that made you feel that way? Yeah, it's one way to ask that question. Or it's bad to feel that way. So you can simply ask, then how do you would like to feel? And it will set that, clarifying the meaning and opening up the choices for them. Or you can also ask how bad is it? How bad you feel, or what do you mean by bad? And you will get the response and clarify the meaning for the person. Or you make me feel angry. Yeah. So what would follow the question? That what can I do to make you feel less angry? Or will you be less angry if I do it that way? Yeah. Or something like, she is always laughing at me, or she doesn't like me. Yeah. So did you ever ask why she's laughing at? Or you can ask, are you sure that she doesn't like you? Or is it really important that she likes you? And you imagine the kind of chain of thought process that will happen in a person. So this is the way you can clarify the meaning and open up the choices for a person who is distorting the communication through their filters. The other one people do it is generalization. And the first question, just if you look at it here on page 29, on that sheet, she never listens to me. So never, because it's a generalization. Never means it's 100% time. Never. And you can follow it by a question that when was the last time she listens? And you can ask then in what situation she listens, or in what situation do you think she doesn't listen? And that way you can identify the limitation and clarify the meaning and open up the choices. Yeah, are we here on this one? I can't tell him the truth. Yeah. So what's stopping you from telling the truth? And they would tell about whatever is stopping them. And what would happen if you tell the truth? That's one of very important question. What would happen? Because they have never thought about it in the first place, or whatever they have thought about it is something so negative, something so fearful. So that's about the generalization, filtering the generalization. And the last one is deletion, and how people delete information and how you can help them through that process. Is he rejected me? Well, how do you know that he rejected you? Oh, I'm uncomfortable. So what will make you comfortable, or in what situation are you comfortable? And then help them through that process of actually getting there. Oh, she's just a better person. Better in what way? How do you know that? And what do you mean by better? Or somebody says, I want to be a better person. So what do you mean by better? Clarifying the meaning, what exactly they mean by that. Not based on our generalization or our deletion or our distortion, but based on what exactly they mean by that. And that's basically the purpose of meta model, of gathering the information, clarifying the meaning, identify the limitation, and opening up the choices. Any questions here? Okay, let's do this exercise one-on-one, and feel for yourself how you would ask question and how it will help you getting through the filters that we all have.